we're both baffled.
Well, yeah, you for the fact that, until you've actually seen a werewolf, they're mythological creatures.
Yes.
And most, if not all, mythological creatures are real in some other dimension. Whether
Right.
I'm not going to go as far as to say unicorns or Pegasus, because honestly, where would you find them? I don't know. I have no clue. I'm sure there is a form of them somewhere. So, Cole, being the kind of skeptic, what would you say to that?
Pegasus is in Greece.
They are. But do you think they're really there in another dimension?
No. I honestly believe they're an extinct animal that was on this planet.
And I think I should get on board with that.
I honestly don't believe we will find one today, even in another dimension.
We've got to catch it and fly it back into our dimension.
I fall under the belief that every... I don't really want to bring it into it, but it has to because it applies to it. Every religion gets parts right. They have to.
If you combined them all, you would find the reality.
That's right. So that includes the Greek religions of the many gods.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, a lot of those animals that they talk about in their stories, there has to be some truth to them.
And, I was just talking to a Navajo friend just before the show, because I'm looking for a Native American or First Nations, and I don't like using the word storyteller, because to me, somebody says story, I think fiction, and I think most people do. I like using, in those contexts, verbal lore, or, verbal heritage versus story.
Mm-hmm. Story does sound made up, yes.
Say again?
Sorry, story does sound made up, yes.
It does. And, when I asked him that, he said, "Oh, you mean Bigfoot stories?" It's like, well, to me, Bigfoot's real. So, and he did mean reality, because, he has many Native friends that have actually had Bigfoot encounters. So, and not arguing, not by any means, but they are stories. They're verbal lore, and the reality, past reality, and in some cases, still here. They're just in another dimension. So, Brent, what is the most memorable case that you can think of that you've encountered on the astral?
Oh, wow. Well, to me, I remember them all, but the one that really stands out is back when my first case, actually. It's with some past members, and there was a client that had aliens that had been tracking her for a while, so they planted some implants in her, and she kind of immediately reached out for us. I don't know how she reached out or anything like that, but she'd reached out, and we ended up, it was I'd say, I think if I remember right, 5 team members reached out and astrally battled these aliens that had implanted her, and they've been fighting with her for years, it sounds like.
And as I recall, too, there were a couple alien races involved in that one, as well as an ancient non-alien being.
Well, I personally saw 3 of them. I saw grays,
Right.
reptilians, and I don't remember I call them tentacle head because I can't remember what they were, but I saw at least 3 races.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And I left the tentacle heads, whichever ones they were, alone.
Oh, and yeah, and I always go back is to any listeners that are new to the show or new to FMP, they listen to us talk, and it does sound like science fiction. So I always try to think of ways to explain what we do that doesn't sound science fiction, or like what Dave calls the woo factor. But honestly, until you actually see the team in action, until you actually have a case that we come in and wind up clearing for you, you wouldn't believe it. Every team's got its purpose, whether it's evidential, whether it's to go in and help historical sites, whether it's only for the thrill of it. And I don't agree with just doing it for the thrill of it, because that's how you get attachments. That's how you get yourself hurt.
Well, not only yourself, but if you're going on a thrill-seeking hunt and you're assisting somebody at their house, you could make things worse off for the client.
For sure, yeah.
Most of the thrill seekers you're going to find are the ones that go to Waverly Hills. They go to the historical sites. Most of your thrill seekers don't go to clients' homes. I think the ones that go to clients' homes and stir things up are the newbies. They might do it for the right reasons. Or in their opinion, they might do it for the evidence factor because they saw it on TV. I don't think you'll find the thrill seekers. I think you're going to find thrill seekers going to cemeteries or to famous haunted spots in their communities. You see it here locally. Oh, I want to go to Northern State. Well, have fun. It's already been proven haunted, so you're not going to prove anything. But they want to go to Northern State because they're thrill seekers. They want to see something. One would only hope. I remember a couple of different cases where they actually had 3 teams come in at different times. And they had one team that came in and they saw something and they ran out screaming. And she was never able to reach that team again to find out what they saw. But not only did they validate her fears, but they made the being that was there even more upset and made things worse for her. And it took her a year before she actually found FMP. Because I get accused, why do you do promotions? Why do you advertise your group all the time? Well, I don't do it because I want us to be popular or famous. I do it to find the people that need the help. And the people that need the help are the ones that go to other groups asking for help. Now, some of those people, as we know, ask for help in 20 different groups. And some of them have been shown to be attention seekers. And that's where, Francie, our therapist, comes in handy. Because she can easily weed through that. Then we have the abduction side, and I think the abduction side that's what bothers me the most, because we have to come up with our own protocols that make the team safer when it comes to the abduction side. But I think that's the most terrifying, because it's one thing to be pushed downstairs by a spirit or a malevolent entity. We can go in there and remove that. That's easy. It's another thing to be taken against your will by a being that's not from this planet, and both the client and the being know nobody's going to stop it until we come in. But as we've found, there's dangers involved. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you brought up the
Okay.
perfect case, though, Brent. Because that wasn't the only alien battle that this team's done.
Right. It's true.
And
Definitely not the only one.
But then go into some of the dangers involved, Megan,
With aliens?
with astral.
Oh, with astral. Okay, I thought we were still talking aliens. Okay, so astral. Well, personally, I have combated a tentacle-type creature, shapeshifter, trickster type entity, and when I chopped it, the tentacles kind of wrapped around on the floor, and they hit my legs in astral. And Brent worked that case with me, when we were able to get rid of that entity, when I came back and I was with my body again, I actually had red welts across my legs, and they lasted for several days. And it looked like a heat rash type welt. So that is luckily like one of the only injuries I've sustained. I have been yanked out of astral. I believe it was by a guide. That was before I was fully astraling, and I was still taking coursework. But I decided to try my hand at a case, and I got yanked out for whatever reason. So either I was not ready to see what I was supposed to be seeing because it involved a child. And again, with what Richard was saying, child cases are incredibly hard. Especially for me as a mother. I don't really like working child cases, and this involved a child. So, but yeah, I got yanked out of there, and I listened. I didn't try and go back, but it was a physical yank, and it jolted me right back out of astral. So there was that. I know of people that have ended up, having physical illnesses. Energy depletion is major. And I know that if I'm in astral too long, I do suffer headaches the next day, and I am so thirsty. I could drink water for days. I mean, it is immense dehydration. So, Brent...
And getting yanked back into your body gives you a bad headache.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did.
And, we've been fortunate. I don't think, and I'm not going to say you can't, but, we've been fortunate in that you don't get PTSD from what we do. We haven't yet. Having PTSD already, I wouldn't know anyway. But the difference between astral PTSD and combat related, or fire department or any kind of EMS services that got PTSD from physical work. So
yeah,
I think the difference is we practice grounding, and we're already shielded when we go in. I think grounding is the key to helping, and like Richard said, journaling. I think journaling is very important. I think, journaling your feelings and your thoughts gets those thoughts down on paper and out of your mind, basically, and is good therapy. Whether you've got combat-related PTSD or you have astral trauma from what you've dealt with.
Yes, no, journaling, I brought that up last night on SOR. Journaling is very effective. Grounding immediately after an astral session helps because you can purge all the energy, especially, energy that you brought back with you from your case, or wherever you were. You don't always have to astral on a case.